Picture this, a lone figure, kind of like an anti-hero, walking through a desolate landscape that they've created for themselves. They're surrounded by walls, but you can't see them. They're forged from bitterness and from blame. Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful parable about personal transformation. So join me as we follow this wanderer's journey, getting them out of that self-made prison and into a life that actually has meaning.
Okay, so this is where our story really begins, with this one crucial idea. And this isn't just some philosophical quote. Think of it as the first clue on the map. It points to this invisible armor that, let's be honest, we all wear sometimes. An armor made of blame. And believe me, the entire journey hinges on getting our heads around this single powerful concept.
You know, every anti-hero's story has to start somewhere. And for this wanderer, it begins behind a fortress they built with their own two hands. It was designed to keep them safe, but over time, it's actually become a prison. So let's take a closer look at the nature of this shield. So what is this thing really? It's defined as a self-soothing narrative. Basically, a story we tell ourselves to make the sting of our own failures hurt a little less. But here's the catch. That comfort comes at a terrible price. It leads you down a dead-end road of isolation and nihilism, where you just end up mocking the very idea of success. It feels like protection, but it actually stops any real growth in its tracks.
So, in this story, who's the bad guy? Well, according to the shield, it's pretty much everyone else. It's your family, your peers, it's society, it's the economic system. I mean, it's so much easier to point a finger out there than it is to look in the mirror, right? These are the very bricks used to build that prison wall, and each one is just another way to deflect personal responsibility.
But here's the thing about a fortress built on lies, it can't stand forever. Eventually, the emotional cost of keeping it up just becomes too high. And this is the turning point. The cracks start to appear, not from some attack from the outside, but from a rebellion deep within. And this right here is a crucial way to reframe things. All that depression, the self-hatred, that nagging feeling that nothing matters, that isn't a weakness. Think of it more like a signal flare. It's your own mind screaming that the shield, this false sense of protection, is failing. It's painful, for sure, but it's also a necessary call to action. So here's the big takeaway. The first heroic act isn't slaying some dragon out in the world. It's an act of radical honesty with yourself. It's that moment the wanderer finally looks at that shield and calls it what it is: a defensive barrier, a place to hide from the terrifying weight of personal responsibility. This is the moment they finally meet the anti-hero inside.
So, with the shield now cracked wide open and exposed, a choice has to be made. Two paths appear. One is crowded, it's well-worn, and the other, well, it's empty, and it just winds off into the unknown. This is the fundamental choice of the entire journey. On the left, you've got the way of the sheep. This is all about conformity, following the script society gives you, and looking for approval from the herd. It's safe. But on the right, you have the individualized path. This one requires you to create your own meaning, to look that deep existential dread right in the eye, and to choose a struggle that is purposefully your own. One is about fitting in, the other is about becoming who you truly are. Now, this is a really important point. The individual's path isn't just about pure rebellion or isolating yourself in bitterness. That's just another kind of prison. Authentic heroism isn't only about tearing things down. It's about having the courage to build something new in its place, a framework for a life that actually means something to you. Okay, so the choice is made. You're taking the hard path. But now what? How do you actually start dismantling a fortress you've spent a lifetime building? How do you start forging a brand new road through the wilderness? Well, it seems we can break the process down into 4 steps. First, you have to see the shield for what it really is, a defense mechanism. Second, you have to confront that part of you, the anti-hero within, that wants to hide behind it. Third, and this is the toughest one, you have to stand firm in the face of life's uncertainty without that crutch of blame. And finally, step 4, you pick up the pen and become the author of your own story. Let's just pause on this for a second. That crutch of constant blame, it's so comforting, isn't it? So easy to lean on. To actually throw it away and stand on your own 2 feet, to face the abyss with your eyes wide open, that is the very definition of courage. And if a person can do this, if they can find that courage, something absolutely incredible happens. A transformation. This is the final stage of the journey, the moment of alchemy, where you turn lead into gold. See, The ultimate prize at the end of this whole journey isn't a crown or a chest full of treasure. It's authorship. It's that moment you stop being a side character in a story written by your circumstances and you become the one holding the pen, writing your own narrative, and defining your own purpose. This simple equation really boils the entire parable down to its absolute core. The choice to actively create, to build, to strive, that will always, always be more powerful and more meaningful than passively accepting a story where you're defeated. It's the fundamental choice between being a force of nature and being a victim of it. And just like that, we come full circle. Remember that psychological distress from the beginning, that pain? It wasn't a punishment, it was potential energy. The alchemical process of this journey is what transforms that raw pain into fuel, turning aimless suffering into a purposeful struggle for growth. The poison becomes the cure. In the end, this parable was never just about a lone wanderer in some desert. It's a mirror. We all have our shields, we all face that same fork in the road. The final, and really the most important question, is the one this journey leaves for you. The page is blank. Who is going to write this story?